Hey, thanks for checking in. I'm pan-searing some salmon and having cucumbers, onions, mushrooms, and jalapenos and soy sauce with sesame seeds and water with ice on the side. How was your day today? I'm so happy you're here. Now let's talk about a comic I've been reading. It starts out with a girl named Charlie going on an app to hire a defender, a bodyguard. She was outside when she saw an older lady calling her by her name, with a small dog on a leash in one hand and a pistol in the other. Vida, the bodyguard, with the lowest rating, meets up with Charlie and figures out very quickly that she's got a price on her head. A campaign that anyone can put money into anonymously to legitimize the kill. No cop can interfere until the campaign is over. And in this case, Charlie has $1 million price on her head and a long list of people that want her dead. And the list is still growing. Anyone can participate. The cops can only enforce the law if someone tries to kill you after the campaign. Even Vida, the bodyguard, has a license to kill anyone trying to kill Charlie, as long as she does the tedious paperwork to explain every kill she makes in self-defense. Charlie, unfortunately, makes Vida's life on the job more difficult at every turn, because Charlie tends to put Vida in situations that causes more paperwork, while the campaign to kill Charlie is steadily climbing, making more people want to reap the rewards. Can Vida keep Charlie safe for the 30 days, which is the length of Charlie's campaign? This idea of Crowded just popped into Christopher Sabella's mind, the writer. It took about a year to build a story around this concept. After the 3 issues were done with his team, he decided to solicit it to Image Comics. Christopher Sabella has worked with Marvel, DC, Oni Press, Boom Studios, Dynamite Entertainment, IDW Publishing, and Image Comics. Christopher Sabella has been saying it takes place like 10 minutes in the future. It's slightly a futuristic book, but the main concept is it's a world where there's an online platform called Reaper, which is a crowdfunding platform for assassinations. It starts out with 10,000 people kicking in money to get rid of a politician they all hate, and it kind of bleeds down to street level. So if you're mad at someone, you could put up a campaign, and as long as one other person contributes to it, anybody can come out and kill that person and collect whatever money you raise till then. Christopher Sabella has written many comics. Christopher has done work on Screamland, Earth's Mightiest Hero Captain Marvel, Evolution, High Crimes, Fantastic Four, Shadow Man, Ghost, Cruel Biology in the Dark Horse comics, Dead Letters, Alien vs. Predator, Escape from New York, Welcome Back, I Lived in a Clown Motel, and Christopher literally lived in a clown motel located in Nevada. Heartthrob, Demonic, El Diablo, and Killer Croc, Injustice Ground Zero, Pool Disaster, Green Lantern Space Ghost, Kiss Vampirella, Coffee Shop Dog, Short Order Crooks, Agent 47, Birth of a Hitman, Blue Beetle, Cold War, Death Defying, Shanghai Red, House Amok, Test, Dead Dudes, Pantomime, Dirtbag Rapture, Self, Foul Brood, and Crowded. Many of Christopher's ideas come from real-life events, and rather than a snippet of information, there would normally be some interesting fact you now know, or just knowledge you store. Christopher Sabella expands and finishes the story. Like House Amok is a horror story about a family that goes insane together on a road trip that was inspired by a syndrome called folie à deux, a shared insanity caused by stress and social isolation. High Crimes is a murder mystery on Mount Everest that's almost 30,000 feet high. Christopher first got the idea by reading Into Thin Air by John Krakauer, a non-fiction book that details his experience on Mount Everest, where 8 climbers died. Christopher talks about how that inspired him to write about an area called the Khumbu Icefall, which is basically skyscrapers of ice that are constantly shifting during the day. And Christopher thought, well, what if somebody brought a gun? What would happen then? Test is about a character named Aleph that has sold their body to a corporation for money and is looking for this safe haven for people like Aleph. But this place constantly keeps moving. Christopher Sabella was inspired by working in marketing, by recruiting people in focus groups, and hearing a story about these test towns that food companies go to test their new products before they do a full launch. Christopher Sabella says the concept is only half the work, and then I have to come up with characters that are interesting and real. I idly think of stuff and write it down, and if it seems good, I just keep coming back to it until I turn it into something. Christopher Sabella has a way to bring humor and light-hearted moments when dealing with a multitude of dark situations. Christopher says, I can come up with some grim, dark scenarios, but I don't want to spend months and months wallowing in darkness. By my own personality, I want things to be a little bit fun. And by my own personal sensibilities, I don't want to subject my readers to trauma. I want you to enjoy yourself while you're reading it. Christopher Sabella speaks on the idea of coming up with the characters Charlie and Vita. Christopher says, I know a lot of Charlies. I think everybody does. I have these dynamics with some friendships where the basis of it is sort of constantly needling each other and poking at them more than somebody you weren't that close to. Charlie comes from that dynamic where you're the worst person ever, but I still like you, but you just drive me crazy. The character Vita is patches of people, and he actually asked Vida Ayala, the writer, if he could use their name. And there is some of Vida Ayala that comes through in the character, Vida. Rebel Wilson has come on board and decided to adapt the comic Crowded, and has put her own money in and will produce it as well. And hopefully can get the movie greenlit. Rose Stein, the penciler, and Ted Brandt, the inker, met in college. And even though they started a relationship, they never thought about working together. But when they were asked to take over Princeless on the 3rd volume, it was way too much for either of them to take on their own for the first run out. And they thought it would be a good idea to do it together. When doing Crowded, they broke down the scripts together, counterbalancing each other effortlessly, speaking about their strengths, saying Ro was better at capturing angles and gestures with pencil, and Ted Brandt being better at doing the ink and final line work, the background gags to show a bit of character like the DVR list and the brand names. Ted Brandt says, "It was important to us to make it feel like a living, breathing world, because it could have been really easy to not give the world any character. But you can learn so much about the people by the world they live in." Rose Stein explains her drawing process, saying, "When we get the script, we also count each word bubble in the script, because I work digitally, and we put placeholders to figure out the basic size of what each word bubble would be and how much space the letters are going to need. So it's a combination of leaving enough space for the lettering while also trying to cram as much into the page as possible. So that involves sometimes having oddly shaped panels, just trying to make sure there's no blank space, because it's called Crowded, so everything is crowded." The challenges of doing Crowded, Ted talks about in issue 6. When they were leaving LA, the splash page, they're just about to join the freeway, and they're being flanked by cop cars, and the ramps are lined with people, with at least 200 people, drawing different people, with Ro remembering the highway scene where they drew a sick man who was clearly getting ready for work and had an iron as a weapon. They wanted to show the detail of many different people as they could. Ted Brandt says Christopher Sabella didn't have a fixed idea about how the characters should look. Rose Stein says he just gave us the lowdown on their personalities and we came up with something that fitted. Ted Brandt drew up Vida first, which was portrayed as tall, hard angles in the face, quite svelte. And Rose Stein made Charlie, the opposite of Vida. Rose saying, "Ah, yes, let's make Charlie short, curvy, round cheeks, and a pointy chin." The symbiotic work relationship that Ted and Ro have is remarkable. But will Vida keep Charlie alive long enough to find out who started the campaign that is trying to end her life? Crowded. Check it out.